of you that don't know me, I am Karen Sashik. I am the state certified referee assigner. So I assign all the refs and oversee all the refs for the tournament for the whole weekend. I also do your league games too, but that's irrelevant. For field marshaling, if you are the first one on that field, like at 8 o'clock, you need to go over to the registration tent and pick up your bag with your clipboard, your lovely little vest, and everything you need to be your field marshal.
Stacy wants them all those stuff in there so she knows they count.
Oh, you mean during the day?
Yep.
Okay, so I guess instead of
report that in?
instead of going to the fields, check in and make sure that so she knows you're there. Try to be at your game field at least 15 minutes before the game starts so that you can check in your teams. You should get a signed roster and the player cards from the coach. Then you check the player IDs, and please look at the cards very carefully to make sure that the little kid standing in front of you is that person on that player card. Because last year on one of our older teams, we had a player that had a red card, should not have been here playing. The coach had him playing under another kid's card. We, the field marshal, heard some of the parents calling this kid's real name and didn't recognize a name that she saw on the cards, so she called us over there. We found out that it was a whole different player that was red carded, shouldn't have even been playing. Therefore, that team ended up forfeiting their games. We made a report to the state that that coach is no longer coaching for at least 4 years. He lost his license. So even though they checked the player cards at the registration tent, when you're checking in the teams, you need to check to make sure that the player card that you're calling is that kid in front of you. You need to check for shin guards, that they got the proper shoes, no toe cleats, and no jewelry. You can't help it if they've got body piercing that you cannot see. But, there's some of them that do. But I mean, for pierced earrings or something that's on the face, all the jewelry has to come off. If there's any of them in casts, they cannot play. No matter how good you pat it, they cannot play. That's a WISA rule, that there are no casts. And if you get any rough, well, they played at high school, that's because WIA lets them play padded. But Wisconsin Youth Soccer says no. So, and if they give you problems, you can either go to your center ref if he's out there, or come to the referee tent and we'll deal with the coach.
That goes for splints too? They have like a splint on the finger or something, or is that just cast?
It's the fiberglass and plaster casts. Yeah, it's an idea of it, it's hard that if you're going to hit another player, another player's going to hit you. It can, you can do damage. Also, they need to check the coach's cards to make sure that the coach on that field is a licensed coach. And the date on the
packet?
Huh?
Those will be in the packet with the
They'll give it to you.
The coach will give it to you.
Okay.
You just need to ask the coach to see his license, and he should have. And some of the coaches at the tournaments keep their coach's license card right on the clip with the player cards, so it may be right there. You hold on to these player cards all through the game. And another thing, you need to check for the color of the uniforms. If both teams have got like red tops on it, red tops, or the uniforms are real similar, you may ask the center ref if he wants one of the home team to change. And it's always the home team that needs to change their uniform. Check to make sure that the spectators are on the spectator side of the field. That's the opposite side as the players. And the fields have got little dash lines out there. They need to be back behind those dash lines so that the ref has got room to run. And if you've got, now don't take offense because I'm one of these, if you've got grandma sitting down there by the goal box, you need to ask her to come and sit in the spectator box, because some of them tend to go down by that goal box and they could very likely get hit with a ball. For their safety, they need to be on the player side, the spectator side of the field.
What about parents that are sitting in the goalie box yelling at their kids who are goalies?
Yeah, no, they go back to spectator spot.
They need to go back to that spectator box. The coach on the other side of the team should be coaching their kid.
We do run into situations I see when I play where you've got one coach on one side of the field and one coach on the other. He's yelling from over here on the, where everybody's spectating, and then you've got another coach over here, so you've actually sort of got two coaches yelling back and forth to the kids. Can that coach be over there by the spectators? Because number one, it causes a problem. I know it causes a problem when I'm sitting there listening to that guy barrel over my shoulder at some kid on his team. It's like, you know, if you're gonna do that, go over there because you're a coach.
Yeah, they're supposed to be coaching on
From the
the,
goalie, but from
No.
coaching.
from the coaching side of the
So,
field, yeah.
because they do that, they sometimes send an extra coach out to watch the other side, and then they're yelling at their players what to do, and it's like, boy, that's your.
As field marshal, you can send him back to his spot.
Yeah, you can send them, ask them, you know, be nice about it, because we want all these teams to come back next year. But, you know, just ask them nicely, you know, sir, you know, either go over by the coaching, if you're a coach, to coach them, or if you're a spectator, you know, please go by the spectators, you know,
Well, if he's a coach, he should have a coach's card too, right?
right.
So, that's the first card.
And if he's got a coach's card and he's a coach, then he needs to go back over on the other side of the field and coach.
That'd be your.
There will be bottled water and bottled Gatorade in the ref tent in ice chests that you can get for the referees. Some of the people wait until, or ask the refs at the beginning of the game, you know, are you gonna want water, are you gonna want Gatorade? And go get it before the game or right after the game starts. Some people wait until the halftime. It's up to you. I have a few veteran field marshals that come with little ice chests, pick up the water and the Gatorade and take it to the field with them.
But like if you're over at Midstate, you should pick it up first.
Yeah, yeah. And there, if you would forget to, there's concessions is gonna be over at Midstate. You could probably get a bottle from Midstate too instead of running all the way back. You need to watch the spectators area so that they stay back of that line and are in an orderly manner. If the ref stops the game, you can assist him as far as watching that the spectator removes or leaves the area, because if the ref would stop the game, go over and tell the coach that the parent has to leave. You can't start the game back up until that parent is off the field. That would all be up to the center ref. If there's any kind of an injury, you will have the telephone numbers on the clipboard. You call the medical tent and assist the ref, whatever you can for the injured player. Hopefully, we will not have any injuries.
So you're saying we need to have our phone with us?
No, 11 and 12 will have a phone that's already pre-programmed. There's only one medical tent this year, and it's gonna be at Washington. So I am sending mobile phones over there. 11 and 12, and the concession stand will have phones you can use.
But you'll be within running distance.
Yeah.
The medical tent is going to be outside the center.
And the numbers for the phones will be on
Are
there.
on the
Yeah,
clipboard.
they'll all be on the clipboards.
So then we don't call, then we come to them.
Yeah, if you're at Washington, you're going to just have to run over and get them.
But the numbers will be there on these if we choose to call?
The
Yeah, you
number
have,
is on the clipboard.
yeah, if you have a cell
And
phone with
in
you
the
and you want to
phone,
call
it's
them,
in there, yeah.
you know, that's up to you. You can call them. If you have any problems, you can contact the ref tent or the registration tent as soon as possible, just so we know what's going on, and if we get parents or coaches coming over and complaining, we know what's a little bit about it, what's going on pre-hand. After the game, you collect the game card from the ref. It'll be in your bag, which you will give the ref at the beginning of the game. At the end of the game, you collect this little game card and your sheet for the game. The ref signs them, and then you bring this back to the registration tent. Not the ref tent, the registration tent.
Where's the ref?
The registration tent is this blue tent right here. That's where all the game scorecards will
When
go.
you speak of the referee tent?
The referee tent's gonna be right there. And then
Registration.
ask the ref if it's okay that you can return the player cards to the coaches. If something would happen that one of your players would get a red card, then you need to take that player card off of the ring, and you need to keep that player's card and bring it to the registration tent along with your score sheet, because that player would be out for at least one game, maybe 2 games, depending on what he did. So that player card, red player card, the coach does not get back.
Is everything on that sheet?
Mhm.
And then that'll be on the clipboard?
And if it's all right, you know, if the coach says, or the center ref says, I'm done with the player cards, you can return them, then you can give the player cards back to the coach. Tell him thank you for coming, and, yeah, there'll be a sheet on your clipboards with a checklist so that you'll be able to go through and know, more or less one thing by after another what to do. So you won't have to remember it all. And just, we want all the teams to come back. We want to try to get some more. So, I mean, if it's hot, smile, look like you're really enjoying this job. Okay, any questions?
Is there a limit to the number of coaches that can be on a team?
No.
Seems like that.
Most of them will have a head coach and assistant coach, maybe one other one. But no, there's no limit to.
But in order to be on that side of the field, they need to have a coach's card.
Yeah, you either have to have a coach's card or a manager's card. Some of the teams have their managers because they do some of the duties with the kids, for water and that. They will have a manager's card from the state of Wisconsin. And they need that. Whoever's on the side of the player, side with the players, need to have either coach's card or manager's card. Anybody else needs to go on the spectator side.
Are we responsible for boisterous parents?
Yeah, you have to evict them.
No, you can't evict.
Tell them to be quiet.
No, but I'm
You
saying,
can, yeah, I mean,
you always get, you don't always get them, but you get one or two that get a little crazy, and if they're starting to get out and agitated, you have to take care of that.
You can ask them.
you can ask them nicely to quiet down, lay back. If it really gets bad,
It must be irritating, you ain't gonna be nice and irritating. You're already gonna be your skin.
the center, or call the referee tent, and I will send somebody over to that field. I mean, I have, Amy Manhart's gonna help me, Keith Wirtz is gonna be here the majority of the day. If they really get boisterous, I can send one of them over.
What about cowbells?
Ooh, good question.
No kidding.
Well, the high school lets you have the cowbells, they just don't let you have air horns. So,
That's what you're losing.
Yeah. The cowbells are.
If you're winning, get all the call bells you want. If you're losing, knock it off.
If we don't have it listed as against our
Yeah, I
rules,
mean,
I don't know
yeah,
that you can
there's not a
say.
whole
We
lot
should all
we can
carry
do.
cowbells, and if somebody,
Yeah, there's not a whole
another team
lot.
has had a cowbell, we can hand our team a
I had a
cowbell,
team one time with cowbell.
a bigger cowbell.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot we can do because we don't have it on the official rules. One thing, if you're field marshaling and they have dogs out here, I don't know why, and I love dogs, but it's on the rules, it gets sent out, it's a school policy that there can be no dogs out here. And
Either
pe-
place?
Huh?
Either mid-state or here.
Either place, yeah, but for some reason, people still bring their dogs. You have to ask them to please take the dog back to the car. And they say it's hot, well, you should have thought of that before you brought the dog. The dog cannot be out here on the property. Nobody wants to pick up after your dog.
But if it's a service dog, you gotta let it stay.
Well, yeah, but the service dog is a little bit different, but,
I know you can't see, but get your dog out here.
well, and the ones that have been here in the past
Kids
years
anyway,
have not
yeah,
been
yeah,
service
yeah.
dogs. They've been just dogs that people don't leave at home. And not everybody is real happy with dogs, whether they're friendly or not. So if you have any problems, like I said, either call or come over to the referee tent. We will be there all weekend.
Is your phone number on there if we have questions?
Yeah.
Karen,
Except she's gonna have it on mute.
are clips on the shirts allowed this year? Up here, like,
No.
roll up and put-
No, that you can't have the scrunchy things, and
Velcro? No?
and the shirts are supposed to be tucked in. When you're checking in the teams, if the girls and the guys all got their shirts hanging out, ask them to please tuck in their shirt.
Oh, that's always the
And we're not enforcing it this year, I don't think, but it's a state law, which you may run into some tournaments. If you are taping your socks on the outside,
It's gotta be the same
it has to
color.
be the same color as your sock. Or Eurosport has come out with a clear tape that you can use. But you can't, if you got red socks, they're not supposed to be taped in black or white.
So do you tell them to take that off?
Why is
Huh?
that?
Do you tell
Why
them
is
to take
that?
it off?
I don't think
Because
we're
in the southern
enforcing
part of
it.
the
They will
state,
remind, they'll tell
for
them
some of
that
your their teams are really out to win for blood, will take a key player and mark his socks. And so that all the rest of the players on that team know that if they get the ball, that's the spot person. And get the ball to him and he'll score.
Well, they can find it.
Yeah, they can find it easily on the field because his socks are marked. And I mean, I don't think it's been done around here at all. And like my son said, it might be an advantage coaching because then you know that that's their, you can double team their star player. But that's one of the reasons why the state said you can't mark your players with tape on their socks. It has to be either the same color as the sock or the clear tape, so it isn't real evident who's being marked. I mean, I guess up here, if somebody does that, you know, I might nicely tell the coach so that, you know, if they go to another tournament, they're aware of it. But I wouldn't tell the coach the kid can't play. I don't. But you're not gonna know that either. So. Okay, is there any other questions?
We're not in
What? No, we're not gonna tell the kid you can't play or that.
We're gonna inform.
We're gonna
them, but we're not
inform
gonna enforce it.
We're gonna inform them. And if we would happen to get any bad concussions, I have a form in the referee tent, and I'm hoping that the medical people have it too, but it's a form that you give to the parents stating that their child had a concussion and some of the symptoms and some of the things you should watch for and some of the things you should not do, because we want the parents to realize and know that their player, their son or daughter, may have sustained a concussion. So if they get asked for it or if a concussion happens, I've got those forms over in the referee tent. But we aren't going to have any concussions over the weekend, so.
No,
Do you walk the line and, you know, just periodically, or do you just stand down in the corner or middle, or, you know what I mean?
Depends on what action's going on during
Yeah.
your game. You know, if you've got rowdy parents, that you ought to be walking.
Okay.
Because that's the biggest thing.
And
is-
sometimes if they see you with the vest and you walk down by them, some parents will settle down and quiet down. They know that you're there and that you can tell the ref.
All right, I'm not sure positive how well this mic picked up on everything, so I'm going to do a very quick overview and jump in if I miss anything, okay? So field marshals should check in at the registration tent at the field marshal table. If nobody was on your field prior to you, all your stuff will be there and you'll pick it up there. If somebody is currently playing on your field, you'll head over to your field and get the vest and the clipboard and everything from the field marshal who's already there. All right, then you need to check in your players from both teams. So collect the player cards, check them against the roster, check them against the players, make sure the players have shin guards, no toe cleats, no jewelry, no casts. Make sure the coaches have coaches cards if they're on the player side of the field. During the game, you will be present for crowd control if needed, to call the medical tent if needed, whatever, to bring the refs water, Gatorade if they'd like it. At the end of the game, you need to get the signed game card and the form on the clipboard, ready to turn back into the registration tent. Make sure you give the player cards back to the teams.
And if you're out there field marshaling and the team for the next game is standing there and you're not doing anything, and it's getting down to your close to that game time, you can start to check in the next team, just so that we can keep these games all on schedule, because there's not a whole lot of time in between each game, and if one field gets way behind, it moves everybody, because I have refs going from field to field to field, so if they're late on that field, they're going to start another field late. So I mean, if the whole team is there for the next game and you're not doing anything, you can start to check in that next team. And then whoever the next field marshal is can just take over when they come.
I have a question, like on that, say I'm field marshalling on field 5, are all the forms for that games that are on field 5, they're already in the bag for the whole day?
Yep.
So it's basically just a handoff?
Yep.
From,
Yep.
okay,
You hand it off to the next person,
okay.
give them the vest, and then you can bring your card to.
So actually, the only person that has to go to the tent is the initial person in line.
No, everybody
No,
has to check it.
she wants you to check the girl that's
No,
taking
but
the
I mean,
field
everything
marshal.
is in the bag though.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you don't need to
Okay.
pick anything
You
up.
just gotta check and let them know you're here.
Yeah, let her know that you're here, she can check you off, and then
Okay.
you can go to your field.
Do you hold on to the player's card during the game?
Yes.
You hold on to those throughout the game?
And then when the game is done, you ask the center ref if he's done with those cards, he can give them back to the coach. The only time you keep the card is if you have a red card. And hopefully we won't have any of them either.
If you're watching your own kids, your own team, is it okay to yell, or should you try and be quiet so that you set a good example?
Good example.
You gotta be a good example.
You have to be neutral.
You have to be neutral.
That's why I don't feel Marshall.
That's good. I gotta feel.
Yeah, because Nancy can't be neutral, we already know that.
No, yeah, you gotta kind of remain neutral and authoritative.
So you can't trip one of the other players.
No.
Oh, I don't think so.
Trip going with a different color tape.
I have a question. Some of the players wear, you talked about tape in the socks, but sometimes they have like a tape, must be for.
Oh, the tape like
Whatever
Jerry
the tape
Draper
is
uses.
that appropriate?
Like-
And
like
that's-
she has on?
like
Chris
Chris.
Stanford,
yeah,
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how-
That's a medical use.
It's
Yeah.
soft.
anything soft is.
Yeah.
It's not an X marks the spot, kick it to Chris.
No, she definitely doesn't want that. Yeah, that's all right. And they may, some of them do that on the shoulder and it's fine.
The tape on the shoes is fine. I know girls that do duct tape their shoes so that their laces don't.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Eventually,
not
that's
gonna.
all gonna have to match the uniform, but right now, we're gonna inform them that it all should match, but we're not gonna pull anybody.
it's something that we're, you're kind of, this is the first year they're doing it, so we're kind of making everybody aware of it and breaking them in. Just like a couple of years ago, the state came and said, if it's cold and they're wearing the underalls, they have to be the same color as the shorts. The first year, we told everybody about it, but we didn't enforce it. This has been out there for like about 3 years, so now it's like, it, you should be buying red to match your red shorts or whatever. Okay, anything else? If not, we should have a good weekend.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it greatly.